Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
This is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host of Global TV Talk Show, a service of globalbusinessnews.net. Globalbusinessnews.net was set up in 2003 by a friend who used to be a developer at Intel. So I've been put in charge of making things work, and as you could tell, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But we've had a number of page views, according to Google Analytics, since 2003. They say 1.2 million or so page views, which means people going and looking at different pages. So they also measured this year, especially since March 1, through January 1 through a couple of weeks ago, December 10, Google Analytics said our site has had 75,000 reader page views. And I think that's because people are shut in from the pandemic looking at stuff like this. So our special guest today is in London, Ben Sookia. Ben Sookia is a very interesting guy. Ben, why don't you introduce yourself more formally and name of your company and what your specialty is?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I've worked in the immigration industry for the last 10 years, which immigration is obviously a key service within the wider industry of global mobility. Currently, I'm the head of global immigration at a law firm called Reese Edwards. But my role, from when I began up to now, has been coordinating usually corporate immigration visas for companies. So transferring employees from one location, for example, the US to, let's say, Australia or potentially somewhere in Africa, anywhere around the world, really, from one country to another. And the way I would do that is, the firm that I work with and myself, we have network partners and providers who are based in the ground. They are either lawyers or qualified to deliver immigration advice. They provide the technical advice, advise on the documents, the timelines, the process. And my job is to effectively know the right people in the right places, but also to very much to make sure the process runs as seamlessly as possible and as efficiently as possible. So to make it as clear as we really can for not just the person moving, but also their HR representatives as well. So it's very much immigration focused, and it's very much about having a large and reliable network around the world of people that can actually get the technical immigration stuff done.
Ben, I've been speaking to others and looking at your LinkedIn page, and a phrase jumps out at me that I've heard from others as well as reading it on the page. It says, emotionally intelligent service delivery.
I hope so.
What is that? That's cool. But what does that mean?
I could talk about this for a very long time. I know we haven't got as much time as you could for this topic, but emotional intelligence is fundamental in our industry. There are certain key individuals that are leading writers and strategists, I suppose, on in this area. One of them is an American by the name of Daniel Goleman. But emotional intelligence is basically the key criteria that you have in terms of delivering service and having key skills, for example, empathy, self-awareness, motivation, social skills that can help you be a strong leader effectively in an organization. A lot of people talk about how knowledge is important, and it is, obviously, if you're advising on immigration laws, but you need to be competent, you need to have the knowledge. If you're leading a team or managing a team or advising a client, you need to have that knowledge, but you also need to be able to deliver it in a way that is understanding of the person that you are giving that advice to, whether it's someone internally in your company, whether it's a client, or whether it's a friend or a family member. It's a very important skill, and I've probably spent the most of the last 4 or 5 years developing that, and I suppose trying to make that my kind of key skill that I can offer people in the global mobility industry.
Thank you very much for that. So I know you're very much into pluralism and diversity, and
Yes.
meaning that to paying more attention to companies and people who are not North American centric, and Africa and other countries. And
Yeah.
I think that's cool. But what does that mean that you want to give voice to others, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just to be very clear, I love North America. I've been there many times. I have friends from the US and Canada as well. Having said that, I think the pandemic, the last 6 to 9 months, particularly has. I actually wasn't working for a couple of months during that time, and it gave me the chance to step away and look at the industry from the outside in, and just see what it's all about and how it looks, and talk to people that don't work in the industry, people who are innovators or systems thinkers, and people that don't have much knowledge, to see their opinion. And one thing that seems apparent to me is that I love the industry they're in. I love global mobility, but I do think we've fixated on immigration and mobility in certain key regions, not just North America. I think Europe is another one. How many conferences do we go to and we hear about Trump or probably Biden in the next year or so, or Brexit? And I think that's great and that's important. But what I do think is, if we work in global mobility, we need to focus on the global side of that. And we need to understand the key issues and the trends that are happening in other regions as well. And that's why I think pluralism is important, because I think if we work in a global industry, which we do, it shouldn't just be about the North American market or the European market. It should be giving a voice, giving a platform, giving actual economic viability to regions that aren't just the ones that we have focused on, or I have focused on for the last 10 years. I think we should do more to contribute to the great reset that people are talking about after the pandemic.
So now, would this translate into or be relevant to attracting global talent when possible, to relocate or to send work via virtual assignments to global talent not located in the currently key metropolitan regions?
Absolutely. What I believe in is, and I know you'll probably ask me about donuts because I've been asked about them before, it may be in a few minutes or so. But what I think we need to try to strive for is a more regenerative and distributive model of global mobility. So you can have the top talent, but they don't necessarily all have to go to the UK or the US. Why not send them to locations? Africa, for example, has a huge oil and gas sector, and IT as well. Actually, there are big companies that have huge IT hubs there as well, or Asia and the Middle East. So you could send the global talent to other locations. Equally, when you're sending someone, let's say, from India to the US, there should be more schemes in place that offer upskilling of the local labour workforce. Let's say one Indian national comes to the US on an assignment. Why do we not say that you have to train 2 or 3 Indian nationals locally in India so that they can develop their skills and improve on the back of that one person moving to the US, so that we can have a more equal and fair society, really, just like the donut that I've talked about a few times before.
So let's talk about generational, like I just mentioned, white hair, and that you don't have that.
I can't see. It's snow. It might be snow.
It's
it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
Well,
but what about young people helping old gizzards like me? Intergenerational, and is that an issue for you?
No, I mean, actually, I know that we were discussing this conversation. There are a few points that I suggested that we talk about. If I'm honest with you, Ed, this is the point that I wanted to talk about. This is the point. This is the most important one. And actually, I want to take you as an example. And before I do that, I want to explain what I mean by intergenerational solidarity. Effectively, what we need to be doing more of going forwards is we need to have younger voices in global mobility. We need to have people that are younger having the opportunity to speak at conferences or give their opinions. And we also need to have people that are experienced mentoring those younger people and, giving them lessons on how they can develop their skills or improve, for example. But you learn both ways. I mean, that's what mentoring is. You can dress it up and call it intergenerational solidarity or mentoring.
I think Zoom is a perfect vehicle for that communications because, first of all, it's easy, and second of all, it doesn't cost anything.
Correct. Ed, we're doing it right now. I have to say, I apologize for this, but I wasn't completely familiar with who you were 6 to 9 months ago because we live in our bubbles. And to have the opportunity to know more about you, and you've been in the industry for quite some time, and actually look at your show today. Like you have your show and you're quite established, and you've been doing this for many, many years. And then you have people that are kind of have been around for a couple of years doing shows like this, like Ben Cross or Roman Zelechenko. And that's what I mean. You have people like Ben and Roman, maybe even myself, and you have people like yourself. And we need to learn from you, but also, Ed, to give us the opportunity and the platform. I really appreciate that because I think it's really amazing to have this chance and to get the exposure to it.
And now a word from our co-sponsors. Our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design, and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so I just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
So I have to tell you that Roman and I did a talk show, for just a couple of weeks ago. But he first came to my attention about 2.5 years ago. I was preparing to do one of my live meetings. Global HR conferences is what we called them, in Manhattan. And my host was Chase, JP Morgan Chase, and the meeting was held inside their Park Avenue World Headquarters, which was, of course, beautiful and wonderful. And I invited this guy to come, and we just met on LinkedIn, didn't know each other at all. But I saw what he was doing with his labor-less as applied to immigration, and how it made sense. So I wanted to have a young, hairy face on my platform with all the other white people, So, and
that's important, Ed. What you're doing and what Ben's doing is really important. I want to say this for your views, but I want to say this personally to you, because what you're doing is you're having shows about Brazil or Scandinavia. Ben Cross is doing the same. But, years before, you go to conferences, big conferences, whether it's in the legal industry or relocation, and people didn't have those opportunities then. And now, because of you and because of Ben and because people like Roman, we have the opportunity to speak. And that change needs to continue. It really needs to continue, because we can't continue how we used to before.
I believe it needs to accelerate because
I agree.
People are tired of hearing from me alone, I'll tell you that. So let's talk about donuts. Paul, can you show this thing? And Ben, you could do a voice over on it and say, so what is donut economics, and how does how does it relate to mobility?
So I'll try and shorten.
So, that's a bagel. It's not a donut.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer donuts to bagels. So it's a nice little yellow, creamy, green apple inside, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, this is an idea that I had through learning about emotional intelligence and empathy. There was a guy that wrote a book on empathy called Roman Kersnarek. He's a social philosopher. And his partner is, she calls herself a renegade or rebel economist, and she created this concept called donut economics, which was completely alien to me several months ago until lockdown, really. But what she's saying about the economy is that we need to move away from thinking about rising GDP, rising profitability, growing the value of our house, and thinking about living in a world where the economy should thrive by balance. And the balance she's talking about is not monetary balance or financial growth, but she's talking about a donut on the outside of the world, where on the outside you have climate change and biodiversity and pollution and all the things that you need the environment to survive. And on the inside, you have society, so health and food and water and everyone having a job, being resilient, everyone having the opportunity for education as well. And what we need to do economically is find a balance between what the environment needs and what society needs. And she's created this donut economic model. But this is just a template. This is just a template. So we can actually take all the words out of this on the outside and the inside, and we can implement it in anything that we want to. We can implement it in business. We can implement it in our house. We can implement it in the global mobility industry. So what I've done is I've taken this idea that's more applicable to economics to begin with. And I think we need to say, what can we do to make the global mobility industry thrive? And that's why I think we need to think more about being fair and equal in terms of having a fair and equal voice. We need to ensure that we think more about measures like sustainable migration, which is what I described previously. We need to think about giving a voice to the older and the younger generations and combining the two. So it's trying to make our industry more equitable, more fair, and more balanced, really, and move away from all of the economic profitability going to just certain economies. So
let me ask you, if I may jump in. Looking at the center of it, in the blue it says social foundation, and within that there's health, gender equality, social equity, jobs, voice, resilience, education, income, water, food, health. So these are, and this the picture is like concentric circles looking down into this thing. So I'm seeing a telescope in my head here, and I'm looking into it. And the things that we just mentioned, food, water, health, gender equality, that becomes the core, right? The hard core. All right. And so in the industry, what we're dealing with, and the hard core, if I may say that the actual transferee family, the employee and the family, are the hard core in the middle, because it's all about them.
Exactly. I completely agree. And the fun part of this is Kate didn't design the donut just for these words. She designed it for people to take away in their industry or their life and put what they want to. And that's exactly what you've just done. So yes, it can be the family. It can be, the best part is it can be whatever we want it to be. You can sit down, Ed, with Paul or your friends or people in your industry or globally and say, what should we have in our global mobility donut? So yeah, family is one of them. Maybe we could put culture, maybe language, maybe community. But that's up to us. I mean, that's the beautiful part of this. We can decide what's on the outside and what's on the inside, and then develop the center of what we do, whether it's your radio show, whether it's, someone's business, whether it's relocation or tax or intercultural, anything really. But we can define what we want in our own global mobility donut to make our industry in line with improving things that need to be changed after the pandemic.
So one of the issues here, well, more than one, but a whole group of issues has to do with the COVID and the pandemic that has evaporated the global business traveler and global talent mobility, cross-border work. And of course, everyone's doing this on the TV screen now. But so as a result of that evaporation or elimination of global business travel, what's happened? There's less carbon from airplane use. There's less pollution, human involvement.
Yeah.
And there's less money changing hands, so the economy's hurting. But,
yeah, true.
But there is communications now because of this medium.
Exactly. I'm not proposing, obviously I work in the industry, I'm not proposing that business travel or work, assignments stop completely. Of course, I want them to continue, but maybe we can do them in a more intelligent way. Maybe assignments, as I say, can benefit someone younger from the sending country, or maybe the person, the apartment where the person relocates to is somewhere that can benefit the local economy. Maybe it's something that's better for the environment. For example, they're not staying in the big fancy 5-star hotel. They're staying in an apartment that's something that will benefit and include and be more inclusive in the community, or taking environmental issues more into account. These are the small things that we can slightly weave into our industry to improve.
So in one of your writings that I see, you mentioned that Pope Francis is a leader in this regard of more equality, of bringing more people together. And, he's a leader of millions, billions. So what if we can take some of these teachings from the Pope, and I'm a fan of the Pope, I think that it's a beautiful thing, because they can be applied to the industry through reaching out to people through internships, or at least some kind of dynamic communications through Zoom or something else, to participate in a conversation, whether or not speaking up. Some people are afraid to. They're self-deprecating. They're not used to being aggressive in public, and there's nothing more public than what we're doing right now. But they can be in the background. They don't have to be visible, and they could use the chat for communicating in writing, or they could just do audio and not the picture. But getting people involved as a reach out, like, for instance, may I suggest, through your leadership, not mine, but through yours, and I'll support, is that you find people in Nairobi or in Rwanda or some other place of interest to you, and we bring them into one of these talk shows, and to get their opinion, and how do they view big business coming into Africa. Of course, it's been there forever.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Just to go back to the Pope, I think some of the things he said are really quite important. But the most important thing, and the most relevant thing, is he set up, I suppose, a community which is called the Economy of Francesco, which is an international group of entrepreneurs and economists and change makers, I suppose, under the age of 35. And they were meant to have a huge conference in Italy that was in the end virtual. It was in November. And they very much support the idea of donut economics. I actually did a collaboration with them in the summer to talk about sustainable migration specifically. So that is an organization and a network, founded or created effectively by the Pope. And there are people like that do support these ideas, and they are all over the world. And the important thing is, and I'm absolutely happy to kind of continue the discussion and see if they might be open to speaking on your show. But the more important thing is that there are people that aren't necessarily working in global mobility that can contribute to improving global mobility. And all we need to do is listen to them.
I think that's great. Thank you, Paul, for showing that. And thank you, Ben, for bringing that up. We have about 5 minutes remaining here. And I'd like to congratulate you for your work with Ben Cross. I watched some of them, not all of them. But I think it was cool of what you guys did, and I appreciate what Ben has been doing with that approach. As we know, it's different than mine, and that's okay. The diversity, just like you have Fox News and MSNBC and CNN, everybody's different. We'll just leave it mainstream for a minute. But so I'd like to invite you to come on this program in the new year as part of our reach out series of specific topics extended across time, like one a week, once a month, whatever is convenient. And you find one or two people from different places to join Global TV Talk Show through this free medium. And we have a dialogue, a conversation. It could be for 5 minutes, or it could be for 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good to continue the discussion. And the other thing, Ed, I think that's really important is it's great that that you have this show. And congratulations on it's grown so much in especially in the last few months. And,
we're just amazed. The fall since Labor Day, American Labor Day.
It's fantastic. I would say it's not enough though, and not you're not enough. You're doing more than enough. What there needs to be is leaders, and there needs to be Ed Cohens and Ben Cross all over the world, and that's quite important. There needs to be someone like you in Africa and Asia.
I'm sure they are there, but this is a lot of work to do this.
It's tough. It's tough, but it's what you're doing, giving people the opportunity is really appreciate it. I think it's a very important initiative.
Okay, so what do you have coming up for your holiday week? I know you have to be at home.
We're all stuck here. My parents are coming over to mine, which is the first time I've actually hosted them. So I'm very excited. My fridge is now full, packed full. So I'm just ready to have my mum cook a nice meal for me. I'm joking, of course. I will help her a little bit. I don't know. I'm looking forward to just some days rest. Really, it's obviously a very tough year, very tough kind of few days coming ahead for people in the UK. But we sort of have to just keep going and hope for positive days ahead.
Okay, so I signed up to get the vaccine, but the doctor hasn't called me back yet. So
I hope that comes soon.
Yeah, right. I can't wait. So I want you to stay well, and please come back on the show here. And I welcome your commentary anytime.
Cheers. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Ben Sookia in London. Cool. How can people reach you?
They can reach me on LinkedIn, probably the best way to contact me.
Okay, Ben Sookia, you see his name right there, and you can just put it in the LinkedIn search. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.